What up? What up? Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Shout out to everybody coming on in the room, man. We got a whole lot to talk about today. And we had
Yes,
some new music dropping this past Friday. Savon, you in the building? Yes, sir. We in
sir.
here. What's up, everybody? Thumbs up in the chat. Y'all know how we do, man. Microphone check on Monday, man. How was your weekend, sir?
Man, it was cool, man. Basketball games and stuff, and just looking at the hip hop rumor mill, man. It's back
A lot
to
going on.
the news is picking up in the cycle right now. So it's been
Well, the
interesting.
Diddy trial started today, man. The wait is over. The floodgates are open. You know what I'm saying?
That's
It's going to be a
interesting
lot going
real
on.
fast, man.
Yeah,
We'll get into
I see people outside with their free puff shirts. I ain't seen no free Diddy shirts. I seen a free puff shirt out there, and
yeah.
it's gonna get crazy, man. As far as basketball goes, the Knicks are on tonight. Gonna be Knicks in Boston, game one. I think the Knicks are they're gonna give Boston more of a time than what people think, and I only say this because the Knicks just went through a battle, man. They went through a battle with Detroit. Detroit, you know what I'm saying? They played some really good basketball. They're a young team. And the Knicks had to really fight and claw to get through that squad. And I don't feel like Boston's had to do too much right now. I mean, we just saw that with Cleveland yesterday when, they've had some time off. They pretty much just steamrolled the Heat. But, they went up against a team that went through a battle.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like I hate Boston. Number one, I'm a Lakers fan, so I'll always hate Boston.
There we go.
But because they sat and that Knicks team, they just went through that battle. I feel like Boston might take game one. But like I said, we don't know how to call it because sometimes sitting for a long time, you come out there and kind of lose you lose your steps too, especially when the series wasn't as competitive beforehand. But I think a fresh Boston, if they come out there and really do what they do in playoff time, I think they're probably gonna take game one. But I think that's gonna be an interesting series, man.
Yeah, from a talent perspective, I mean, Boston's super deep, right? But I like what Cat's doing over there in New York, and obviously Brunson, came with the clutch shot that won that other series, man. I mean, it should be a good series. I'm really looking forward to seeing what game one's going to look like for this OKC, and because OKC, once again, they look like they just running through everybody, and I know they're a young team. But you got Jokic on the other end. You got Westbrook on the other end. I mean, they got experience. They got Murray over there. Now, they don't really have much of an experience when it comes to coaching because they got rid of their coach like right before the playoffs. But I don't know. That should be an interesting series. I think game one tell us a lot about where that series is going.
Yeah, exactly. I actually checked out that Cavs game last night with the Pacers. That's going to be an entertaining series as well.
Yeah, man. The Pacers weren't missing nothing, man.
Yeah,
I just don't see the Pacers shooting like that the whole series. If they shoot like that for the rest of the playoffs, they're gonna win the damn championship. Like they weren't missing.
Yeah, I just feel like the Cavs. I feel like the Cavs is gonna come up on top on that series, man.
Yeah.
I think they, Halliburton. He played well last series, but I just feel like that Cavs team, man. They're just the chemistry there. It just works so much better with what Spider's doing over there and everything. I think Cavs got that one.
And they're gonna get Garland back too. So I mean, even in a loss like that, they still were clicking. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, obviously they got some things to go back and work, but they still were clicking. What's the other?
Golden State.
Timberwolves and Golden State, man. Man, listen, man, the Golden State series, the game 7 for Golden State. Shout out to Buddy Hield.
Buddy Hield
he held it down. And I hate that, people acting like, Steph went out there and won that game. That really wasn't the reality of the situation. Steph had like 3.5.
Yeah.
But moving forward in this series with the Timberwolves, them being undersized is gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
Because Rudy's going to go out there and rebound. Rudy's not going to sit here and, if it's going to be Draymond on Rudy, Rudy is going to have his way like he did with the Lakers when the Lakers went out there and went small. And, and Ant-Man is going to, he already said he wanted to play Golden State. So it's going to be real entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, if Rudy shows up and actually play like a real big man, I think Minnesota is going to take that. Not only are they hungry, but like the key in the West has always kind of been relying on big men. Golden State has always been an exception on that, but
Yeah.
I just think Minnesota is a healthier team, and I think they have the tenacity and will to win more than Golden State right now. So yeah, I take Minnesota in that series.
I think the only one I question right now is this OKC and Denver. I mean, just by conventional wisdom, I would pick OKC in the series. I don't want to be disrespectful. And then I'm going to go Timberwolves in this Warrior series. I got Cleveland. And sorry, guys, I got Boston. So that's that final four. I've seen in the regular season when Cleveland and Boston play, Boston seems to get the better of Cleveland. So I would pick Boston in that series. And OKC and Timberwolves, man, I'm going to go out on a limb and pick the Timberwolves on this.
I think if Boston's defense step up and do their thing, I see Boston actually going to the finals again.
Yeah, they can win it all, too. They're very deep. I mean,
I
I
feel
be
like
forgetting they got Porzingis.
yeah, if their defense is clicking, I could see Boston actually going to the finals.
And when people talk about the NBA, they think about Kobe. We love Kobe, man. Before we go,
yeah,
huh?
what you was gonna say, Mike? Because
I was gonna say before we go on to the next topic, man. Like I be seeing folks talk about like Kobe took like a garbage team to 2 championships. I mean, look, it wasn't a star-studded team, but I remember that Lakers squad that Kobe had with Gasol. Gasol might not be a top 75 player, but he should be. Because when you got James Harden out there getting 7 points in a game 7 situation, and he's a top 75 player, you ask me who I'd rather have on my team is going to be Pau Gasol over James Harden any day. But that team had Gasol, Bynum, and Odom. Like you're sitting here at the 3, 4, and 5 with 3 7-footers. Like you weren't getting no rebounds on that Laker team. They were getting
and
all kind of offensive rebounds.
and a prime Odom was nice. That team was actually better than what they get credit for. Actually,
Yeah.
that was a good Lakers team. But with the good thing you brought up Kobe because with Harden and Kobe, I remember Kobe was in an interview and they asked, they were talking about I think it was with Rachel Nichols, and he was talking about James Harden game. He was talking about he got a good game, but if he keeps playing the way he's playing, he's not going to see any championships. And
I remember him saying that.
and then it's just like watching the Clippers, how that planned out. I was like, yo, Kobe, he's been right, dog. Like he's been right, G.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, the thing about Harden, and we can move on, man, is the fact that, dude, you put up 8 shots in a game 7. You're a guy who has led the league in scoring before. Like, you're the second all-time 3-point, maker in the NBA, and you put up 8 shots in a game 7. It looks like you didn't try. You know what I'm saying? Like, or you didn't put forth the necessary effort. Like, there's no excuse in a do or die situation in the first round specifically, and your team is down. You put up 8 shots. If you're gonna go out shooting, man. Literally.
Yeah, man. So we'll see how
Anyway,
goes out, man.
well, Met Gala's going on right now. I know a lot of y'all are, ready for these playoff games, but the Met Gala's going on right now, and I think Doechii is going to be the belle of the ball of the night. It seems like this whole weekend has been centered around her. But to start it off, Westside Gunn had a collaboration with Doechii on Friday with the Egypt remix. Shout out to Leroy Green. He dropped the remix. He dropped the freestyle over it. We'll post that in a few. But they got down, man. This shit was crazy, man. What did you think about the Egypt remix?
Yeah, I mean, I seen the like the excerpt where they get the clip in where she's talking about Westside and everything on there. I actually seen that at the time. But I wasn't expecting a collab. So when it came up, it just came out of nowhere for me. So that created excitement to just get new music and then see what those two worlds look like. I like the record. I'm not the biggest Westside Gunn fan, man, but I like that record, man. Short and sweet. Short and sweet. And I
Yeah,
think,
I mean, I think it's merging two worlds, man. I think that these two worlds should have been, collabing for a minute. But what we're seeing with artists like Doechii is you're seeing artists that are coming into the mainstream now that are fans of a West Side, that are fans of an MF Doom. You know what I'm saying? And those are things that we didn't openly see in years before. And I do think that that is the impact of, I mean, obviously the internet. I don't want to say the underground, but yeah, you know what I'm saying. Like, I will give Tyler, the creator, credit. He, when he made "Call Me If You Get Lost," he did say that he was inspired by Westside Gunn to take that direction. But Tyler was already kind of made, right? You know what I'm saying? People already were fans of Tyler for what they were already fans of. It comes across different when you get a brand new artist that's jumping into the mainstream, this kind of bridging that gap as well. I think it works for both parties. We need that gap bridger in this era in a way where, to some degree, Kanye was back in '04, where you take Freeway, put him on tracks with Most Def, call him Quali or Quayle. I put him on songs with Jay-Z. You know what I mean? We haven't had anybody that could do those things, for a long time. And she might be a person that could do those things.
yeah, I mean, I I like to see her just going and checking the marks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's basically what she's doing. So I like that she's going and just checking the marks and they're making her visible. You know, the fact that you're somewhat of a new artist to the world because she's not new to me. I remember her being on a double XL freshman cover, but
Yeah.
like to the world, she's new to a lot of people. So and seeing the moments that she get to highlight, whether it's going to be in fashion, whether it's going to be musically, whether it's going to be just like her getting chances to show the personality on socials or whatever. I think it's great visibility. It's been great artist development for her. And the sky's the limit for her right now. The world is pretty much open in hip hop, and I feel like she gets to fill a little bit of a void of creativity that's missing in the game. And it's refreshing to see artists that are not valued on the mainstream. Like how you mentioned that bridging of the gap, man. So
Yeah.
I think it's dope, man. I think, and then I also like to see displays of when the female rappers are rapping, seeing these displays where you are put on a platform where you have to rap to the standard of somebody who's considered to be lyrical artists or whatnot. Um,
Right.
like I always love those displays of women being lyrical. Like when I seen Rhapsody do the ciphers, when I seen well, it's like one of those little things they do the freestyles. I seen with Shade Noir a
Hmm.
couple years ago, and then I just like seeing women display their rap skills, man. So I like it, and I'm looking forward to whatever else is coming.
I would love to see, what I'm saying, her, Shay, and what I'm saying, some of the others in that camp, collab, man. That would be dope. And I think that when you set this tone, it's like sky's the limit for her debut album. I think that she's the kind of artist that could have some of everything on the debut album. I will say this, man. I do think that some of the industry plant narratives kind of probably feed that hunger to double down on working with artists like a Westside Gunn. It might be a Doom appearance on her album as well. And I think that when you really show that you care to that degree where you're reaching, saying, all across the board to all realms of hip hop, it's like, how can you be doubted? And I mean, she even said on the song, like, I feel like I'm the underdog, like, you know what I mean? And somebody who is this successful should not feel like the underdog by any stretch of the
Well,
imagination. You know what I mean?
I can get how you feel like the underdog because like I said, to the world, they're just now becoming face to face with you. I feel like she was one of the last artists of this generation for a little bit that actually benefited off artist development. Like I said, she was on the double XL freshman cover. So, like I said, when I start hearing like things like uh plants or whatever, it was like how when a person is checking off the check marks that you're supposed to as an up and coming artist. And that's why I always said that conversation was dumb. Because like that's how I know when individuals was like really knew about her and people that just being introduced to her now. Because like I said, she was on the double XL freshman cover. She did have a song and video and stuff charting at one point in time. The joint with Kodak. She did have like little EPs and mixtapes beforehand, but she's went through the upcoming artists kind of artist development thing, and even with her last project, it's still steady trending. They're not rushing to keep on having her reduplicate success of whatever last thing was or mass producing music. They're letting the music work, and it's traveling. It's still trending up. I seen that it just cracked within the top 10 of like the Billboard or
I
something.
saw that.
Finally, so it's like it's just gonna continue trending up. I mean, this is real. Like, you don't see this as often in hip hop, that you working an artist, you're building them up. The label actually is working with you, making you visible, and then letting the music naturally grow while you're hitting check marks in different points of the game, or creating those
Well,
relationships and working the music. We just don't see that artist development like this in a way.
well, it's interesting you say that because, like you said, labels actually doing what they're supposed to do makes you look like a plant nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what actual artist development and building up momentum and building up an artist really used to look like. I'll put it that way. And when you do that in a traditional way and you do see the artists everywhere, then somehow it's an agenda. It could be, who knows. Thumbs up in the chat. I see Leroy in the chat. We were just talking
So
about
it's
Leroy
good.
Jones on that Egypt remix. We're gonna put that out there for y'all. Get the lyric video going on with it in the next couple of days. Andre 3000's made it into the news, and we're gonna talk about Goodie Mob breaking up as well, which was heartbreaking for me. But we'll talk about that. And Nas got a residency coming up as well. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says a mainstream hit record. A mainstream hit record singing about anxiety and floating on a boom bap Westside Gunn record at the same time is so fire. I agree. I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
we used to praise this type of balance. These are the things that we always say that we want to see in our artists. We want to see balance. And I've said that on this show and on this channel many a times. And then we have somebody who's doing that and bringing that. And, people can't really overwhelmingly, I don't want to say support that, but appreciate that. Leroy said something when we were on Rhymes and Reasons a couple of weeks back. He says that hip hop the fans can't get on the same page about anything anymore for anything to be classic. And I thought that was a very interesting take, but it's kind of real. Back in the day, we used to be like, everybody's like, yo, man, Get Rich or Die Trying is a classic. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was pretty much overwhelming. If you didn't feel that way, then you were kind of an outlier. But now opinions are all over the place to the point where how can there even be a resounding classic or even an instant classic? Because hip hop fans are just all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a good thing or a bad thing, man. It just depends on where music is. Because if you
Yeah,
have a lot of people and they're going along with the go along game about some trash, that doesn't help us progress. But if the shit is good and everybody's kind of on the same page of it, then yeah. So I mean, it's like a double edged sword with hip hop, And unfortunately, we're in a stale thing. But I'm optimistic on the great things that are going to seep through in the near future.
I
I
think
can't.
so too. All right, Andre 3000's in the news. I'm reading this from Complex actually. Andre 3000 says his mysterious new posters really are requests to find his missing notebook. Okay, for the people who haven't heard about this, mysterious new posters have popped up around Amsterdam. May make people think that Andre 3000 is about to drop a new album, but they're really for helping him find his missing notebook. The rap legend posted pictures of posters in the wild that seek information about a missing notebook. Details about the notebook are listed on the poster. It's a blue two-tone hardcover notebook that he last saw on March 29th in Amsterdam with black sketches and notes inside. So if you're in the Amsterdam area, you might come across Andre 3000's missing notebook. And he also has he has a email address attached to the flyers as well where you can send it in. Do you think this is some promotional opportunity, or do you think that Andre just lost his notebook?
Nah, I think it's promotional, but I don't think it's what everybody is like getting excited over. I don't think it's gonna be a solo hip hop album. I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's going to be something else, and then people are going to get frustrated because they feel like he set them up for whatever because he didn't dispel whatever. And it's like, hey, you guys got to stop placing narratives on stuff. You know what I'm saying? Let it play out and let it be what it be, man. But that just it sucks because that just shows you that people still want to hear from him so much. But at the end of the day, you guys are gonna be frustrating yourselves. Y'all place these narratives and these assumptions on things that don't pan out the way because he didn't give you guys those expectations for you to be disappointed. So don't be disappointed. Yeah, if it's not that album, but
I mean, he didn't say it was a book of rhymes either. I think that even when he talks about music, even when he talks about, anything feature, people assume, and I guess they want to assume in their heads that he's rapping. And he just said it was a notebook that he lost. It could be some ideas in there. It could be some musical notes in there. I mean, I'm interested to, see what it is so that, what I'm saying, we could kind of just know what it is. But yeah, I don't think it's a book of rhymes like people might envision. And I don't know if he's going to get it back either. You know what, man, I'm going to be real with you, Saran. I think that it's a promotional opportunity because I don't feel like he has to go through these type of avenues to retrieve a notebook.
Yeah, I definitely think I definitely think it's promotional. What it's promotional for, I don't know because I would never thought I was going to see him doing a damn flute album, So I can't even fathom what the idea of what he's doing with this notebook is, what it could be. Hell, the next thing could probably be spoken word. Who knows? Andre, you just never know, bro. He doesn't speak often, and people just gotta let him just do what he do and rock. And if you support him, you support him. If you don't, whatever. But I think it's promotional, but I don't think it's gonna be what everybody is assuming it is, and I don't know why they automatically jump to that in the first place. So. It's interesting.
One more question before we move on. Do you think that the notebook's going to turn up or not?
Yeah, if it's promotional, I think there's going to be there's going to be something to it. I mean, it'll be even doper if it actually is some type of missing notebook and somebody finds it and there's something that go along with that or whatever. I think it's dope. I mean,
I think that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to, I think once it shows up, what I'm saying, that'll be, the answer to what this is leading to and, and what's in it and all of that. Well, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is coming up for them, and congratulations to Outkast once again. I know we had a show about that. And that leads me to the next topic because we talked about breaking up, I feel like, when we talked about the Outkast Rock and Roll Hall of Fame conversation. And I think I said on here that the Doechii family doesn't do breakups. I said that you're never going to see Big Boy and Andre break up. I feel like I may have said the same thing about Goodie Mob. Well, right on cue, Goodie Mob's breaking up. It's amicable, it sounds like. CeeLo posted this to his Instagram. I'll go ahead and read it for the people so you don't have to go onto a whole nother platform. CeeLo posted earlier today, a couple hours back. He said, "We're living in an amazing time, an ironic one as well. Our brothers, Outkast, have just been officially inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, where they belong. But I also have a bittersweet announcement to make. This is Goodie Mob's 30th anniversary. If you didn't know yet, I'm also going to announce for the first time that this will be our farewell. The fans know that we've gone through a great deal together. So for no reason in particular, let's just call it natural causes. And we all agree that it's time. We're about to work on a farewell album and a tour, God willing. So for those of you who truly have love for the mob and the Doechii family, make sure that if we happen to be somewhere near you, come and see and support. Go follow Cujo, Timo, Gib. We all appreciate all the love over the years. Stay tuned for details. We did it for Atlanta. Love y'all." What do you think about this announcement?
Yeah, you did. It's funny you did just say that last week that the Doechii family don't break up.
I think somebody's listening.
Yeah, I don't see this as a bad thing. I see this as a good celebration of the careers that extended for this long. I mean, it's no different from Wu-Tang. They're not officially saying that they're breaking up, but Wu-Tang's saying, hey, we're gonna give you this album, we're gonna give you this farewell tour, and thank you for the support all these years. Basically, I see the same thing with this Goodie Mob album. I don't think it's nothing. It's not nothing that's ugly. It's like, hey man, they're up in age. A lot of them probably don't even want to tour no more, or are looking to make future music. At least they're giving us a final tour and an album to go along with it. And who knows in what capacity we could see them in musically in the future. Like, who knows, man? I don't ever see CeeLo just stop creating music. I don't see that happening for him, but can I see the other guys in Goodie? Yeah, probably. But man, this is a good thing, and it should be a celebration for it.
Yeah.
And because we like to age our artists in hip hop, and if they're old and can't do certain stuff on stage and they fall over and stuff, they're gonna be clowned and they're gonna be in a shade room and everybody gonna be joking to have whatever. But when they know when to call it quits, I could respect that. You know what I'm saying? So we got to respect our legends in hip hop and give them their flowers. And this is more of a celebration, more so than a negative, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I appreciate the closure of it all, and I know that on the opposite end, and I say this respectfully, I mean, Outkast never has given us that level of closure, right? Everybody's just hoping for the next album. And I've always said I respect it and love the way that A Tribe Called Quest did it the first time, when they called it quits. They broke up the first time with the Love Movement. They basically, like you said, went on a farewell tour. Told everybody it was going to be their final album. But just like that one, it felt like it was, I'm going to be careful here because I'm going to be careful. I don't want this to come across as whatever. But it felt like, from a fan perspective, it felt like Q-Tip was the one that was like, yeah, we're all going to do our own things. You know what I'm saying? And kind of led the charge. And I see that with CeeLo here. And while you were talking, I was looking at all of the other social medias from the other Goodie Mob members. I didn't see that, same message. CeeLo broke the news, led the charge. That's well within their right at this point. You know what I'm saying? They've done the job. They've done more than their job. And it sounds like everybody's cool with it. Life changes, they're never going to be able to be the group that they once were, when they were guys in their 20s, right? Their life is different. Life is taking them in so many different directions. You don't even have that time to really sit down and create with your brothers in the same way that you once did, So it's like, whenever we come back together, Dungeon Family is always going to be Dungeon Family. So, I mean, we're probably going to see them on stage with each other whenever Dungeon Family does something. And I love the whole build up of having a final album. I loved it when Tribe did it. I love it that Goodie's doing it. And I think the time is good to do it when Outkast is about to be celebrated in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And in my personal opinion, I think that there should be some I think Goodie Mob should get some level of acknowledgement, by some hall. I mean, if we had a Hip Hop Hall of Fame, sure, you know what I'm saying? And I think that really, somewhere down the line, CeeLo should be in the rock. Let me just say it like that. Based on the work and what he's done solo, what he's done as a writer, what he's done as a producer, and a Goodie Mob, I think, could be in there if they had more of an extensive catalog in the way that Cass did. But I think that CeeLo should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame at some point too. But that's just my take on it.
Yeah. I think he's more like he's showed his versatility among the years in hip hop. I agree. Even what he did with Nas Barkley. You know what I'm saying?
My bad, bro. Go ahead.
No, you good. Even with Gnarls Barkley and stuff like that. I mean, CeeLo's amazing. But while everybody's thinking about that Notebook with Andre 3K, I don't think people are actually thinking about maybe putting more attention to possibly hearing Outkast in the new Goodie Mob album. I mean, could you see Andre telling them no? This is your farewell album. We can get Outkast on the Goodie Mob album. So maybe that could be.
Outkast should be on the final Goodie Mob album. I'm gonna tell you this, man. I remember
create
I'm
that word.
aging
You know,
myself here, man. I was in the 7th grade when Soul Food came out. When Soul Food came out, man, I they were my favorite group. And that's Outkast included. You know what I'm saying? Like Soul Food had the city on lock. And Goodie Mob really set the stage. I give Goodie Mob so much credit with changing the direction lyrically mostly of where Outkast was going. Like how thoughtful and thought provoking and how just conscious their lyrical message was. They were like a whole sonic force, man. Like I saw a post the other day, somebody was like not mentioning Dre, Big Boy, and CeeLo. What are your top 5 Dungeon Family verses? And I started thinking like, and Cujo had a lot of them in mind. You know what I'm saying? Cool Breeze as well, and Big Gip also. But it's like, man, Goodie Mob, they really gave you food for the soul on Soul Food. And they set a foundation for that lyrical message when it came to the Dungeon Family. I feel like Southern Playalistic really set the foundation sonically and production wise, song making wise. But when it came down to really rhyming with a perspective, and that's not to say that Dre and Big Boy weren't spitting on Southern Playalistic, but the perspective and the consciousness, man, like Goodie Mob just up the ante. And then that's when you get ATLians. You get Outkast being extremely serious on the mic and being a lot more introspective than they were before. Because even when you listen to Dirty South on Soul Food, Big Boy killed it. But what Cool Breeze and Gip are on there talking about is a lot more layered. You know what I'm saying? Like, Cool Breeze really took it there. Bill
yeah.
Clinton wanted me some weight, told me keep 2, bring him back 8, but I only stuck him 5 and held on to 3. Do you think that Clampton stick his goons on me? Like, he's talking about the president, servant, like, you know what I'm saying? Just that whole trickle down thing. And I think that's one of the top 5 verses too, man. His second verse on Dirty South. Cool Breeze killed it, man. Shout out to Cool Breeze. I want to interview him. I always have.
Sir. And I had the chance to see Goodie, so that was cool. I seen Goodie a couple
That's
times,
what's
but
up.
my last time seeing Goodie was actually my favorite. I seen him on tour with Erykah Badu. They opened up for Badu, and they killed it, man. It was love for them. You know, along with who was on that tour is interesting. Ja Rule was on that tour, and he actually killed it that night too.
Ja Rule's a great performer. We don't
A
give
lot
Ja Rule
of
enough
people,
credit
you
when it
know,
comes to
Ja
performing.
throughout the years it became like this laughing stock to people in hip hop due to 50 and everything. But Ja shows doesn't look like he ever lost fans. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I've seen
Yeah.
Ja on a couple openings of some shows, and you know when we go out there and perform his shows, he's killing it. But I don't want to move on too far away from the Goodie Mob. I just want to put that out there. But
No, 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 that's real, man. Listen,
of the
Ja's a
Goodie,
great performer. Hold on, let
yeah,
me get to some of these damn
spam,
spam. Yeah,
yeah,
but Ja, no, he kills it, and the music really lives. Like, you know, I hate that rap battles can turn fans against the music or the artist or whatever, but that didn't happen for Ja because his music stood the test of time.
yeah, and you know, and shout out to Goodie because it was a few years ago, not few, it's probably over 5 years ago. I did a freestyle over Black Ice and Cujo showed love on the IG,
Nice.
so that was dope. Back then to just get that acknowledgement from Goodie and specifically Cujo, so that was dope for me as well. Shout out to Goodie Mob, man. I know
Yeah,
Gip.
man. Shout out to Big Gip, man. Big Gip actually let me
Yeah,
sit down and do an interview with him, man, about a year and a half ago. Learned a lot. You know, he was giving game as he always does, man. And I hope too in this farewell tour, and we can do this as well. Goodie Mob down, we can reach out to some of our people or whatever. I hope they do some interviews, man, and I hope they
yeah,
really hit people on the game of, you know, the history of this group and why this group is so important. I think when we talk about Outkast and what they mean to Southern hip hop in Atlanta's music scene, somehow we kind of fumble over what Goodie Mob means too. They were a tandem, man. It was like
mhm.
94 we'll have Cass. 95, you know, Goodie's coming. You know what I'm saying? Then 96, Cass. And then, you know, late 98, it was Goodie. It was a lot going on in 97. They took a little bit longer to record Still Standing, but the city was shut down whenever those two acts released their records. Like Greg Street, for the people who were in Atlanta at the time,
Greg
Greg
Street.
Street literally played the whole album on the radio. Like, they were about to come out before it came out. I remember hearing Soul Food on the radio. I remember hearing ATLians before it came out on the radio from start to finish. I remember hearing Aquemini on the radio for the first time, start to finish, Still Standing as well. I don't know about World Party. That might have been, things might have changed then, but maybe they did and I just wasn't listening. I was actually listening to Chris Love and Poon Daddy at the time, Ludacris show. Yeah. But yeah, man, they really, really hold a special place in Atlanta history. And I hope that the city of Atlanta really holds these guys up on their final tour, because they mean everything to us in the same way. And I mean this, I'm not just saying this, in the same way that Outkast does. The same way. It's not too much different if we talk about what they mean to the city. You can have your favorites. The facts are the facts.
Yeah, man. Like Outkast just kind of musically, I guess, to the mainstream, they just took it further. That's all. They just
Yeah.
do the crossover. But same camp, same goals, and their extension. So
Same
shout out.
mission, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to both.
But from a talent perspective, man, like they are as dope as it gets, man. I wish Goodie Mob could have given us more, but they kind of they broke up, got back together, did their own individual things, and I'm glad they finally got back together, and I'm glad they're finally doing this. I didn't mean to cut you off. What were you about to say?
Are you good? Nah. It was just me showing love, just saying, shout out to both groups, and I'm looking forward to this album. And I really wonder, will we get a reunion of Outkast on that, or or is it going to
We
be a
got,
joint effort? Will we have more of Atlanta, the core of Atlanta, show up on that?
we
I don't
should.
know. It should be dope. I mean, that Wu album was pretty good. So
That Wu album is blueprint of how acts like this should make new music. Bone Thugs and Harmony, whoever, like, you know what I'm saying? It's the blueprint, in my personal opinion, man. That Wu album was stupid dope.
and they had features with who they want to feature with, and there's a ton of artists they could have just threw on there just to garner more attention, but they rock with who they could bring into their world. You know what I'm
Who
saying?
makes sense? Like, I could see Earth Gang being on this Goodie Mob album. You know what I'm saying? Since you guys clearly listen to the show, you know what I'm saying? But I could see Earth Gang, you know what I'm saying? People like that being on the album, and the folks that you influence that come from that tree of Goodie Mob and the Dungeon family in general. It's a great opportunity to make some great music and show love at the same time. But I feel like CeeLo, with his resources and his talent and his reach and the respect he has, he can get anybody on this album.
Yeah, and I definitely want to hear some of the young Dungeon on there. Just imagine Future going back and doing something. Well, he comes out of that.
The other album, I think he was on the other album, the last album they released. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong in the chat.
Okay, yeah, I actually didn't hear that one, man. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
It's all right. You know what? I will say this: that nigga Timo was crazy on that album. I never heard Timo rap like that, respectfully, and it's just. And a lot of people feel like Timo's like the new guy out of. Huh?
I'm not going to sit here and cap for the people. I did not hear it, but
You got to check it out. You got to check it out. It was all right. A lot of people look at Timo as like the you guy of Goodie Mob. Yeah, he was killing it. And you can hear that there was probably some Future influence on that album too. So I would love to hear Future on this. And rest in peace to Rico Wade. It's a great dedication to him as well. So our next topic. How are we gonna take this, man? It's so many areas to take this. All right, I guess we'll start it like this. We'll start it like Andre started his Hey Y'all performance at the Grammys. Like, it's the last time I'm performing this, y'all. We're gonna put this Kendrick and Drake topic to bed.
Yes.
Not Like Us is 1 year old. And so after a whole year, everybody's revisiting this topic, not like they ever left this topic. And people are ranking the songs that were in the back and forth battle. You even got DJ Academic talking about Kendrick Lamar killed hip hop and yada yada. 1 year later, what do we learn from Not Like Us? What does Not Like Us mean? And shit, where is it ranked as far as diss records all time?
Well, if people want to be objective, we have to throw it up there as one of the top, just because of the success. I know people are like, oh, it can't be in the same realm as a Hit 'Em Up or whatever, but Back to Back didn't deserve to be in the same realm as that either, and they consider that one of the greatest diss records of all time as well. I mean, so it's in there. It has that impact.
It's the
But
most successful diss record of all time,
it's
hands
the
down.
and it's the most successful. Yes, that's what I was going to get to. It's the most successful disc record of all time. But I think that's when the momentum fully went to Kendrick. But I think people need to look at this battle as a whole. I seen DJ Head and Maul talk about it on the Rory and Maul podcast. They had their debate that was moderated by Maul and narrated by Rory and man, I wish I remember her name over there. Um, it's not even no shade. I wish I could remember her name over there.
It'll come to
Damaris.
you alive. It happens.
That's Damaris. Yeah, Damaris and Rory was mediating it, and that was an interesting convo with DJ Head and Maul. And then I see that bullshit that academics is saying that I don't agree with. But there's going to be a lot of conversations in the pod space
Well,
around this.
what did academics say? Because I know you sent that to me earlier.
Yeah, academics. He was on a I don't know if it was a live or if he was just um on a pre-record. I don't know, but he was basically talking to somebody. I don't know who it was. Forgive me if he's somebody known. I don't really check for all the acts content, but this was viral and it was floating. He was saying that Kendrick ruined hip hop with the beef with Drake or the Not Like Us record, and I just have to push back and say I don't agree. If Kendrick killed hip hop, then it has a lot. If that's say if we're playing devil's advocate and
Mm-hmm.
we're saying Kendrick killed hip hop. Well, if Kendrick is the one that killed hip hop, then a lot of you niggas aren't what y'all say y'all were. And either
What
way,
was Kendrick supposed to do?
no,
What was
no.
Kendrick supposed to
This
do?
is not,
Not battle?
yeah, this is the thing. This is not a Kendrick problem. It goes to show you that this is what music looks like when people do not know how to be creative. Drake is going to be fine because as much as I disagree with a lot of like ways that Drake approached music, he's still a creative and he's gonna know how to create. The people that suffer, if anything, should kind of be mad at Kendrick, even though it's not his fault, is the outside other people that were kind of popping before all this or were getting some traction. Because honestly, those are the guys that are being exposed in this whole beef. Yeah, Drake lost, but he still has a career that has legs to still stand up. Um, those other artists solely depend on Drake. And I don't know if that Drake stimulus package comes with a lot of credibility or value anymore like it did beforehand. If you really look at the rundown of how many artists scored number one records or relevancy due to Drake, it's a lot of them. And even at some point in time, some people will say even Kendrick deserves to be on that list because Poetic Justice, even though I will give a rebuttal that that's not Kendrick's only top 10 Billboard 100 record. I mean, Damn had two top 10 Billboard 100 records, which Humble appearing at number one, and then I think Loyalty or there was another record that was on there. DNA appeared at number 4, and then Loyalty was
I can
number 4.
send you a graphic of that stimulus package. I know
Yeah,
somebody,
yeah.
Hip Hop by the Numbers, posted it earlier. I'm gonna send that to you right now. Yeah, I mean, again, and there was a story that I came across today where Montel Jordan was talking about how Drake sampling him
Mm-hmm.
basically had got him to put him in position to recoup out of his Def Jam deal after 29 years. I mean, listen, you're a superstar, you put out numbers and all of those things. The thing is, man, I know that, obviously Drake, the quote unquote Drake stimulus package helped a lot of artists. But man, you coming at artists or you coming at an MC for a battle, what's he supposed to do? Not beat you? You know what I'm saying? Like, is he supposed to just lay down?
Yeah, and this is why I say All right, because this has so many layered conversations to it.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna talk about the fact of the matter for the topic that we're discussing right now. Here's the first point. Like, he didn't kill hip hop. What he did is he exposed hip hop and how dependent these artists were on being in the likes of um in the likes of Drake. You know, they depended on Drake. And when you depend on an artist and you guys are not being creative or thinking about creating the next wave, when that is being exposed, or you guys, the credibility of collabing with this guy or the value of what it was to collab with them at that time, then it's just like, um,
I think it's
what are you guys gonna do now?
unhealthy.
You know what I'm saying?
I think it's unhealthy for the game to be that dependent on one individual anyway. You know what I'm saying? And commercially.
It's not only just being dependent on him, it's being dependent on chasing the whatever wave he puts for you and chasing a wave that you guys have been riding for so long. At one point
Yeah.
in time, are you guys gonna like get creative? When were you guys gonna be innovative? When were you guys gonna come with something new? And then when you have a guy lose, him losing shouldn't have no factor on what you guys' career and you guys putting out music or whatever. They could use the excuse of, man, that Kendrick stuff is still overshadowing this. Nigga, Kendrick is on tour and Not Like Us is over a year old right now. We can't blame Kendrick for you guys' lack of putting music out. Get in the fucking booth. And you
No,
guys are not
what I didn't like about the battle was you hear me breaking up.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. What I didn't like about the battle was the fact that everybody was jumping in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't like the pile on. Like, I thought that
I thought that was
that was
corny.
unnecessary. Yeah, it was like, let this be between these two guys. You know what I'm saying? It was like everybody kind of was like tagging in or whatever. And, you know, J. Cole did that for a second. He bowed out and he kind of let it be what it was. But I didn't like the whole pile on where, you know what I'm saying, where Rick Ross was coming in, like dropping records the same day. And I get it. Like, Drake saying slick shit about, you know, a lot of people, but again, we knew what everybody really wanted to see. And I think that some of those little clout chases, if you will, even Kanye jumping in, it was like, that's not what we want to see. Let these two guys do what they were doing. Academic, actually, on the anniversary of Family Matters, Meet the Grams, and what was it? What else came out that day? 616 in LA. Mm-hmm. He did from best to worst songs in the Kendrick Lamar versus Drake rap battle.
I seen that list.
He has Family Matters at number 1. He has Euphoria at number 2. He has Not Like Us at 3. That's very objective of him to have Not Like Us at 3. Mm-hmm. Push Ups at 4. 616 in LA at 5. Tailor Made Freestyle at 6. The Heart Part 6 at 7. He has Buried Alive tied there at 7. He got Meet the Grams at 8. I would change up this order a lot. How would you put these in order?
I don't even care. So, man, I'm just gonna be honest with you, because it doesn't change what's happened. What's happened is solidified. Whoever people want to rate as whatever is gonna be subjective. I think just like Drake fans, they're never gonna be objective. They're never gonna be honest about the nature of the events. But to blame it on Kendrick, I think it's bullshit. Just like if Drake won, you can't blame it on him. But the narratives would have been different if Drake would have won. They would have looked like, oh, this guy's untouchable. He's blah, blah, he's the greatest. He's the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's funny how the narrative changed when it's not your guy that's the one that's on the winning end. You know, so, but no.
What is to say about rap battles in 2025 or in hip-hop's modern digital era? Does this mean that the whole rap battle thing on a mainstream level is done because the fans just won't let it happen?
No, man, this is what it is. All right, so the main thing is not Kendrick that killed hip hop. It's the lack of creativity from other artists that just sat back and watched these guys do their thing. They just thought, okay, that kills our hopes of whatever is next to happen. And that's a you problem. You got to go in there and create that. When hip hop became dependent on the same sound, dependent on the same guy that they could use to get a hit and all of that stuff, this is what happens when you put hip hop in the hands of people that are not creatives, that are not people that are able to produce their own and stand on their own. You know, like this shouldn't have been where we've seen a stalemate. You know, it shouldn't be. When Jay-Z and Nas went at it, people were still creating after that. You still got another era or whatever. Hip hop didn't just stop when that beef happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, no death happened from it. It wasn't like a Pac or Big when it's like, whoa, reality check. Shit just got real. It wasn't that. These are beefs on wax. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't understand how all of a sudden this beef out of anything is the one where it kills hip hop and everything comes to a stalemate. No, niggas just don't create. Just create. Prime example, Young Thug should have one of the biggest rollouts of a debut single right now. That shit came in. You know, nobody's talking about that Thug in the record. You want to know why? Because he came out, did that record with Future, and it's the exact same sound that he had from before he went in. And that was years ago. You know what I'm saying? That he went in for that. So it's like, you guys have been dependent on the same sound, on the same guy to save you when stuff ain't going that much. I mean, Mike, he sent the image over. I actually seen this already, but if you look at that list, yeah, you have a lot of records that people had that were big that in the culture or whatever, but when it came to the charts, they didn't start scoring those chart hits until Drake. And like I said, yeah, Poetic Justice was one of those ones for Kendrick, but you take Poetic Justice off Good Kid, Mad City, Good Kid, Mad City is still going to be a classic album. You know what I'm saying? And then
it still got hits.
Exactly. And pre-Drake beef, he still had records that were in the top 10 or top 20 or even reached he had one that reached number 1 without Drake assistance. You can't say that for a lot of those other artists that's on that image. You know, a lot of them, they didn't score success before that. For example, I love Rick Ross. I could say for Ross's music, he has one. I can make an argument that he has one of the best catalogs in hip hop. But even without him collaborating with others or collabing with Drake, he will not have a number 1 record or a trending top 10 record or top 20 record in a Billboard 100. Even Hustlin' was like number 56 on the Billboard 100 when it came out. You got to think about all these big songs that Ross have. None of them were in the top 10 or top 20 of the Billboard 100. But those ones
we got to ask ourselves at that point, Savon, not to interrupt you, but how important is that to hip hop if you got records like that don't even chart like that? Like, how important is
it opens up two things. It opens up the idea, and I get why artists say fuck the charts, because that is not equivalent or shadowing or mirroring even what the streets are saying or what's going on culturally. If you look at the charts, you think about that chart success being equivalent to what the streets and what the culture is saying, you're going to be disappointed, because that's not it. If you happen to see who's
usually the opposite,
it's not what the culture's playing, bro. For the most part, it hasn't been. So it's not a knock that a Ross or somebody doesn't have those records, because he has the career that can stand on his own. But what I'm saying is, I was using that as an example. What I'm saying is, there's a lot of those other artists that without a Drake feature, they wouldn't be shit. And, you know, I'm just going to be honest. So if you're chasing the same sound and you're chasing the same wave and you're not being innovative and you're not being creative, then that's what's killing hip hop. We put our hands and we place the responsibility of hip hop in the hands of people that are not artists. Drake, despite what I think about Drake, he is an artist. He knows how to come out with another way of approaching music than other people. Kendrick is an artist. He knows how to reinvent himself. Every album he makes is a different theme. You know, there are people that are real artists. The majority of hip hop, these niggas are not artists. They are algorithm and wave chasers, and they wait for it and getting the likes with somebody who's gonna give you that nod and ride to the sunset with that. But then when all that's gone, what are you gonna do? You're gonna step up, get in that booth you creator. You're gonna be innovative. If we translate that to the pod space, right? Think about how many people. Think about, all right, 2020, COVID hit. A lot of social media people came out. A lot of pods, a lot of media, because everybody was constantly searching for content. Then we get people riding off the success of that, and then boom, we get media's best thing that could happen, and that's 2 out of the 3 biggest artists of this era going at it. So that gives you a bunch of content.
Point, it was 3 out of the 3, but
and people been living off that for a whole year of talking about this shit. Now it's kind of like, What conversations are y'all having that's furthering the culture or compelling? What new artist has been broke?
Right.
Where's the same thing that's going on in music? It's synonymous to what's going on in the media world. So it's like, damn, you see some of these pods, it's kind of like, what y'all talking about? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
It's
this
like
is a
another
time.
Kendrick topic.
If you're a creator and you know how to create, this is your time to shine, bro. It's that
Yeah,
simple.
you're
It's
right.
wide open right now. And like I said, if you're not an artist, then yeah, you're gonna suffer. This is what happens. The cream will always stay at the top of the crop, but those other
I
ones is
agree.
gonna wither off and die. So at this moment, if you're a creative, you should be all right. But if you're not, yeah, I would feel like Kendrick killed hip hop too, because damn, he made the person that helped me a lot feel like his value of a feature or the credibility is going down. And then damn, he's telling us let the party die. I can't come with the same sound. What I'm gonna do?
Yeah,
What we gonna eat, man? Kendrick back in town. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly. And you know what? And that type of mentality is making Kendrick look like even more of a bully. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like this already had become a massacre, but this is looking even crazier than it looked initially. Now, I'm being objective here, and this ain't based on what I like the most.
mm,
I put the songs in order. I think Not Like Us just has to be number one. Like, it's regardless of what anybody feels about it, it is the biggest record of all time. It has tied the Grammys for the most awards that one song has ever received. It's received 5 awards itself. The only person to tie that, I forgot the name of the song, but it was in like 1957 or something. So not only is it the only hip hop diss record to ever win a Grammy, it won 5 just off of that song alone, right? Um, not to say the Grammys are the end all be all, but you know the accomplishments are what they are. It's the only diss record in hip hop to ever be performed at the Super Bowl stage. I think it's the reason why he got the Super Bowl because the song was so huge. So I don't see that there's any way around. And on top of that, this is the song that ended the battle. I know
yeah,
everybody has their opinions about diss records, like second round knockout, even takeover and shit like that. I think when you're ranking diss records, you can't rank a diss record high that didn't win the battle. This
yeah,
one won it.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
undoubtedly, all the songs in the battle or whatever, this is the one that won it. So it has to be number one, just off of that alone, outside of all the other shit I said. So Not Like Us is number one, regardless if you like the song or not. It's
if you're
got
being
the hook,
upset,
it's got the bop, it's got the most memorable lines. It is what it is. It demolished the whole thing. It was carefully crafted. It painted Drake in the culture vulture light perfectly, and it was told by the perfect person who is a keeper of the culture in Kendrick Lamar. I mean, he used what he was strong at and what his image is to defame the other guy and where he needed work at culturally. It was brilliant. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is what it is. Euphoria got at number 2 just because of how surgical it was, and it came out of nowhere, and it was focused. It was very focused on just Drake. I like Family Matters a lot. I got Family Matters at 3, but Family Matters is all over the place, and it was about a bunch of different people. He, kind of spent a lot of time on a bunch of different people where I feel like that song should have really been centered, focused on who it needed to be focused on. After that, I got 616 in LA. Then I got Meet the Grams. I thought Meet the Grams would have been more powerful if, there was some validity to, the things that were said in there. But he was crushing it on there. Push-ups after that. Taylor Made Freestyle after that. And the last one is The Heart Part 6. That was just like the white flag. So,
I'm not with that. But another thing about this beef is like another thing that killed hip hop is commentary. You know what I'm saying? Like this beef, for it to be as big as it is, it was one of the less enjoyed beefs by me because it was like I found myself having arguments with motherfuckers every day about shit because like the way niggas treat hip hop now and how they have conversations about hip hop is like, yo, my guy, we'll tell you to be corny and fuck out of my face a long time ago if we're in person. Like the internet commentary is what really made this stuff like not able to enjoy musically. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like think pieces from niggas, the memes, like they whatever they did meme wise for Meek and Drake, they overdid that times two for this shit. Like on both sides. On both sides. I seen niggas
Yeah.
that were not Kendrick fans beforehand writing essays to try to analyze what he's talking about and why there's validity to what he was saying. And then I seen Drake people trying to discredit and come with a long list of trying to discredit whatever Kendrick's doing. It's like the fans made this shit so bad, bro. Like to where everybody is down there like, man, I can't wait till you guys stop talking about it. I can't wait till like this shit is over. And now I can see how people could say, man, this is killing hip hop. No, the fans, bro. It's not the music. The fans made this shit terrible to enjoy for hip hop, bro. And it's just
Was it the
like,
lack of? Was it the inability for fans to be objective?
no, it's just people that are like,
Milking it.
it's it's some of that. That's a small percentage. And then it's just people who I know is just not real hip hop fans. You know what I'm saying? It's just like the way that how they're talking about the music or how these narratives are being created. I'm like, you guys are not real hip hop fans. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys are joining in for this because this is controversial and you guys want to be a part of the moment. You know, that was a good thing about um hip hop in the eras early. You know, this is barbershop talk. People were enjoying it, and you know the debates popped off, you know, and whatnot. But the internet makes it to where there's so many unauthentic people talking about hip hop in spaces that they normally wouldn't even be having conversations in hip hop on. Like I said,
Right.
it's talked about in such a nerd like way, and I'm like, do you guys really listen to hip hop in any other time where y'all want to be a part of this? Like I said, and back in y'all time, it's like we could say, or even older people could say, like, I was there. You had to be there for this. The
Yeah.
I was there for this now is the internet, and that's all they want to do. They just want to be here there for this moment, and then after that, do they give a fuck about hip hop or have those conversations afterwards? Are they talking about who's the whatever album that's dropping new? No, man. People just want to be part of a moment because it was like a glaring moment. Like I said, we had like white actresses and actors at these award ceremonies, like singing "Not Like Us" and doing all this stuff, and I'm like,
It was
yo,
corny.
yeah, would you guys give hip hop or nod or listen to hip hop any other time? Like I said, this shit is like, I don't
I'm
know.
glad. Listen,
I don't
time
know,
out.
man.
I'm glad you brought that up because I see in the chat people saying that I'm acting like I'm fronting like I like Not Like Us. I'm gonna be real here. I haven't heard a song get played out to this degree really since like the early 2000s, man. Like, yeah, the mainstream media or whatever you want to call it, pop circles, they made me dislike Not Like Us strongly. I don't want to hear the song. Like if it comes on, I'm turning it off. I'm turning the station or whatever. Like, or if I'm going through my timeline and somebody's doing one of them corny challenges to it, I'm swiping up, man. You know what I mean? And it's not the song's fault that it is in that place. Like you said, mainstream media wanted to chime in and attach themselves to something that was hot, that was trendy, that was that the algorithm was picking up on, and they milked it and they made Not Like Us specifically corny. They turned it into something that was like that makes you not even be able to be objective about the record. But if we're looking at the record for what it is, the beat, the success, the approach, you know what I'm saying, everything that a great disc record has, you know what I'm saying, it has to be up there, whether you like it or not. And at the end of the day, it ended the battle. If this song ain't what it is, Drake wouldn't be out here filing lawsuits. He would have responded with a record. You know what I'm saying? Like this record was what it was. And I feel like if Drake was the person to make this record, people would be viewing this whole situation differently.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the narratives would be different on who killed hip hop or whatnot. So like when I see those type of narratives and people going with that, it sounds dumb because at the end of the day, we have a battle of two artists and two artists that'll be all right and know how to recreate. Everybody else in hip hop, what are y'all gonna do? they're gonna be fine. What are y'all gonna do? Because it looks looking like y'all not dropping no music. Is y'all scared? Y'all true creatives, y'all be popping y'all shit in these records. This is time for y'all to come out and play. One of the biggest people who I'm looking at really having a moment, another coming of a moment in hip hop is ASAP. I'm looking at what ASAP is doing, and I'm looking at Travis Scott. Because I'm
Yep.
seeing ASAP. First of all, shout out to ASAP. He's gonna be in that new Denzel movie, that Spike Lee joint. So, and then he's working on an album. So I'm foreseeing that he's gonna have a big year.
He
Um,
just pulled up to the Met Gala with a
a
this looks
word.
like an umbrella or a burner, but yeah, it looks like a
Yeah,
burner to me, but whatever.
yeah. ASAP is
Yeah.
gonna have. He's gonna have a big year. He's gonna have a hell of a year whenever everything drops for him. Another person that's gonna have a good year is Travis Scott. I'm seeing that he's doing that Cactus Jack album. I'm
Mm.
seeing that he signed one of those artists that was on that Kendrick album. I see him to keep on being visible, man. He's in WWE. He's doing
Oh
all
yeah.
kind of things. So I predict Travis is gonna be fine.
Yeah, I think those guys are going to be fine either way. I think this could be a very, very big year for ASAP for sure. I'm
Yeah.
with you on that. Like Travis is always big. Travis, every time he drops, he's like the most streamed, whatever, whatever. I think ASAP, man, this can be a big, big year for ASAP, and I'm happy for that.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're a real creative, you're real, you really that guy, and y'all be saying that in the records. Where are you at now? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's wide open. It's wide open right now. Kendrick's on
for
tour.
everybody.
You know what I'm saying? It's wide open. There's nobody that's literally kind of like having the game in the chokehold right now, where not anybody can come in here and do what they do. I don't know if y'all creators, where y'all at? If y'all are rappers and
Well,
it's y'all full-time job, where are y'all at, bro?
before we move on to Nas coming to Vegas, like, what's the narratives on Rhymes and Reasons? I know y'all were talking about performers in Kendrick's tour and stuff. Like, what were some of the stances on Kendrick's tour?
Funny as hell. Everything you could dispel. First, it was like, oh, Kendrick was having issues with ticket sales. Then he's selling out every city. Then it was like, well, I bet you they're not black. That's in those stands.
Okay.
Looking at a video in Atlanta, everybody swag surfing before the show started. Then it's like, then it's like, then it's like, then it's like, well, he's co-headlining. That's why he's doing those numbers. Mr. Morale was a solo tour, and he set records on that. So it's like everything you could throw, you could just
Is Jay-Z co-headlining when he goes on tour with Beyonce?
yeah.
He out
But he
doing
also
they
sold
know.
out the Garden by himself. That's what I'm saying. Like the narratives to try to discredit people is hilarious, bro. It's like it's funny, but hopefully I can make it to this Vegas show, man. I gotta catch Kendrick. Even if I have to go out of country, because that second half of the tour is out of country. Even if I have to go out of country, man, I gotta catch him, and I might go try to catch Beyonce and Chris Brown as well. I've seen Brown before. I've never seen Beyonce, so with
Mm,
these performers and like how you said, you have to be there. I feel like these are the individuals you want to be there for. And
yeah.
transition to our next topic. He's one of the guys that you have to be there for, and you have multiple opportunities coming in this year.
Yeah, is gonna be doing the residency again in Vegas. Actually, I want to pull up the article on it just so I can give more information. Shout out to Nas because I know he got new music coming. The album him and DJ Premier. I mean, it's everything but official as far as the title at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would imagine that album is probably going to be centered around the residency. I don't know if it's going to be centered around it. Anyway, Nas announces the summer concert residency with the Las Vegas Philharmonic. The 2 weekend affair is set to take place during the NBA Summer League. Nas is headed back to Sin City this summer with the return of his critically acclaimed residency, Nas Illmatic. Okay. Live along with the Las Vegas Philharmonic. Following the overwhelming success of last year's show, the Queensbridge Legend is set to light up the Encore Theater at Wynn, Las Vegas, once again with the second round of orchestral infused performances that blends rap's golden era with the grandeur of classical music. So is he going to be doing just Illmatic? Let me know in the chat, guys. This year's residency will include 5 special performances scheduled to coincide with the NBA Summer League, making it a must-attend event for fans and music and basketball alike. That's what we like, right? You know what I'm saying? Actually, it's saying that the tickets are starting at $69.99 plus fees. That's crazy. Nas will kick things off July 9th with additional shows on July 11th, 12th, and before wrapping the run with 2 closing performances July 18th and 19th. All concerts begin at 8 o'clock, and the tickets go on sale Friday, May 2nd, a couple days ago, at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Ticketmaster.com. The price is starting at $69.95 plus fees. Yeah, that's something got to check out. And even if he is just doing Illmatic, I guess I wonder where him and Primo's album fits in that mix, or maybe it doesn't fit in that mix at all.
Yeah, it's not like he needs one to boost another, man. It's now he's just kind of like checking off his, like, I'm not gonna say bucket list, but he's just like checking all the marks and all the territory he can cover in this time, bro. Like, Nas doing a residency is dope. I actually wish it was more dates than what it is with just that, because he has so many errors of, like, you can do the Illmatic, but then you could also, like, just go and do other albums, and you could start doing this work that you've been doing in the past 5 years and giving people that to be able to give fans a chance to see that being performed as well. So I mean, it's a good year for him, man. Nas is if I had to ask Nas a question, I'll ask him, what keeps you going at this point in your career? You know what I'm saying? Like, what sparks your inspiration to keep on making albums and then actually popping out and being outside and performing and whatnot? That's one of my main questions I would want to ask him.
Well, he's going to be at the Essence Festival as well. That's going to be July 4th to 7th. He's scheduled to perform at the Essence Festival of Culture in New Orleans, July 4th through 7th. First wave of performers include Boyz II Men, Diddy, Maxwell, Master P, Glorilla, the Isley Brothers, and Summer Walker have been announced. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. I think that the new music might coincide a little bit more with that. I think the Vegas residency, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, might be one of those things where it's like for the fans that didn't get a chance to see the first residency when he performed Illmatic with the orchestra, you get a chance to see it at this point as well. It's amazing to be able to, like you said, have your classic catalog that you can consistently perform and consistently lean on, and still have new music in the chamber as well. And I think, to answer your question, I mean, it sounds like the love of music is what keeps someone like that going, because many artists, when they get to this point in their career, they're going out there just kind of reliving the glory days with their older music, which is awesome too, because music is a time capsule, and it's supposed to be one of those things that takes you to a place, takes you to a time, the artist as well. And to be able to go out there and still give new music at the same time while you're doing these things, it's a beautiful feat. It's an incredible feat. And, shout out to Nas. I'm looking forward to hearing something from the premiere and Nas album. But I got to check one of these performances, man. I got to get out to Vegas. I haven't been to Vegas in a minute. I love Vegas.
Vegas is giving me too many excuses to go there this year. You got this residency, then you got the Kendrick show that's going to be there May 31st. Then you got Bud Crawford and Canelo fighting in September. Then
Super said in our chat that the Hip Hop Hall of Fame should be in Vegas. I think that could actually work.
I agree too. That would be a good idea. Give another attraction. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're gonna put it in New York.
That seems like it hadn't worked, but I mean, it's coming. I mean, New York would be dope. I mean, New York would make the most sense. But if you can't do it in New York or LA,
will it be objectively would be objectively played in New York though when it comes down to that?
That's the thing.
Hip hop, or would it be more of a highlight New York artist? So
exactly, I think that's the thing too.
Yeah, because I feel like everybody.
It might help to have it in neutral grounds.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's still would Vegas be more West Coast centric though? If that's what happens,
But I don't see him being West Coast biased.
yeah,
Um, just because the West has always showed love to all of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna be honest. I
right.
know it may looks like it hasn't been that way, but West Coast has always showed love not only to the South, but they show love to New York too. That
They
East,
opened it up,
yeah,
yeah,
that East versus West shit is like media and like created. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think New York artists hate West Coast artists. I don't think that's the case. I think there is a certain part of East Coast bias when it comes to how they view their level of music and lyricism compared to other regions, though. But I don't think New York hates Cali or West Coast just as much as I don't think West Coast dislikes New York. I don't think that's the case, but there is a little bit of a bias that comes from New York because, of course, just like anything or any New Yorker will say, they think anything that comes from New York is the best. It could be
exactly.
basketball,
New
it
York
could
is
be
just
fast,
proud.
it could be food, it could be whatever. That's just the New York way, bro. So it's like I'm not mad at it. Have pride. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, New
But
York. I mean, let a New
places,
Yorker tell it. New York's the epicenter of basketball, everything. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
and
And
they're gonna
sometimes
tell you
that's the
Knicks
truth
gonna
to it.
win this
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing wrong with it. But yeah, I think actually having it in Vegas would be kind of dope. Another attraction, and bringing hip hop to Vegas. We see hip hop in Vegas when there's events, there's boxing matches, there's things like that. But having a permanent home for hip hop with that Hall of Fame, I think that'll be dope.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Would love for there to be a hip hop Hall of Fame in New York, but yeah, I do think that everybody getting that fair shake could be a foreseen issue, and even if it's not a real issue, I think it'd be one of those things where kind of like what we saw with Hip Hop 50, other people feeling slighted anyway, just off GP. Because even if we're being honest here, like if we're documenting hip hop properly and we're starting in the early 70s, late 60s, we probably wouldn't get to everyone else outside of New York, other than a few people from Philly here and there, until maybe about 85. We start getting out to the west. I don't know. Because breaking with Ice T and Turbo and all of that, that's early 80s. So yeah, that's where we would probably start. Mad Max, you finally chimed in. Mad Max with the super chat says, to not have it in New York is insane. This is our ish.
Says a New
It,
Yorker. But
hip
there's
hop.
like,
I hear you, Mad Max, but the truth is, hip hop actually belongs to everybody now.
yeah,
I mean, it started in New York, yes, and
but
New
it's
York
traveled
birthed
so
it.
many places.
Mad Max says, "Name one Vegas legendary MC."
I don't know him, but why is
Yeah,
why is there any relevance to
but
that?
that's the reason why Vegas would make sense, because
Exactly.
Vegas wouldn't be biased. New York, all right,
Exactly.
we'll keep it real. New York has the most legends, right? New York has the most legendary MCs in hip hop history. With that being the case, do you think that if it were placed in New York, that everybody else might not get a fair shake because New York is making sure that all of their legends are recognized?
Hell, they don't even recognize their own legends in the city. I mean, think about what they doing with radio. You know what I'm saying? There's times we just talked about Nas. What was Nas supporting unwavering, like, you know, homage to him with New York radio? You feel me? Like,
New York radio failed Nas on KD3 specifically,
they felt
I
a
would
lot of
say.
artists, man. They felt
Yeah.
a lot of artists. But I do feel like there should be something for hip hop in New York. You know what I'm saying? Like I could actually kind of get with some of Matt Max's point of making a rally for that or making you know some attention to that. But I do think Vegas would be dope. Just because it's so frequently visited.
Well,
So
let's be unbiased here, right? Why is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland? Because I don't know, to be honest with you. And we know that rock and roll does start with musicians that were in the South, in Mississippi Delta, and blues, and and the first technical rock and roll song is what is Ike Turner's, Route 44, I think it is, and Ike is from Kansas City. So I think that the mentality there was to find neutral grounds as well. Because really, if we're being honest about, a rock and roll Hall of Fame or a blues Hall of Fame, it should be in the South. Man, Max with the super chat says, I don't care how big hip hop gets. Hip hop is New York always. Well, New York lost the handle on hip hop for a minute, man. We got to be.
We talking about 20 years, but
it might be a little longer than that. The Razorhead with the super chat says, name a legendary boxer from Vegas. Good one, Razorhead. Listen, exactly. All right.
I actually could make a case for Mad Max and what he's saying for NY and the place for that. I'm not mad at his argument for it.
Well, all right. If we want to talk about New York, hip hop will always be New York. I know this might sound controversial. Let's go ahead and do a timeline of when New York had it. We're gonna start. I'll start with. We'll start 79. Rapper's Delight. We'll start there because I feel like that's where like the recording side of hip hop started. So I'm gonna go 79 to. You know what? Let's start it with the Chronic. 92.
No. You have to start earlier than that because NWA.
But I don't think the West Coast had it like that. Like the East Coast still was doing its thing. I think the Chronic kind of marks the era of the West Coast taking it.
Yeah, but we kind of split it though. NWA was very impactful to hip hop.
They were. They shook shit up. But it was just them. I mean, I'm not saying it was just.
You got to think about you got to think about how like NWA, and then you get Cube, and then you get Dre and the Chronic, whatever. They kind of lived. They kind of existed at that same time with that, man.
I want to ask the people in the chat, what year do y'all think that the West Coast took it from NYC? Mad Max in the super chat says, since we lost the handle, what you did with it, mumble? Hey man, you gotta get the
mumble don't get you through 20 years, bro. It wasn't always mumble rap. If it was just that, then you guys wouldn't be trying to cross these waters and try to get what we got going on over here. Y'all would be still doing what y'all doing over there, buddy. And obviously that wasn't working, so you had to come holler at your cousins down here in the South.
I feel like because 88 is NWA. You still had Kane around, you still had Rakim around, you still had LL around, still had Public Enemy around. De La Soul's emerging at 89, Slick Rick's 88, MC Light's 88, and Tribe comes around in 90. Cube is a strong force in 90, but Cube is recording on the East Coast. So I feel like 92 is when the West Coast just took it, and the East Coast didn't really have an answer for it until maybe 97.
That's why
I get 92 to 96 the West Coast.
Because they even have to say they coexisted, because you even have to consider that Pac and Big moment. It's like it was coexisting. Pac was huge.
No, I'm not. I'm waiting until I'm saying until Pac died, because even when Biggie was there, from an East Coast commercial standpoint, Big was kind of going against the West Coast alone. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like Snoop, Dre, and Pac were huge. Like that whole Death Row, Big Three, if you will, like was bigger than everything in hip hop. And I love Nas, I love Wu, but we're talking about from a commercial standpoint and who was selling all the records and who had all the radio play. That was the West Coast. Death Row as a rap label was bigger than Bad Boy as a rap label, as they should. They had Snoop, Dre, Pac, Dog Pound, Rage. You know what I'm saying? Like Nate Dogg. They did the Above the Rim soundtrack. They were everywhere. Christopher Hogan with the super chat says, if hip hop only starters in New York, it would be a niche genre. It wouldn't be as big as it is today. Respect to New York, though I love all regions. I agree with that. I will say this. I think, in my personal opinion, I'm glad we've gone on this tangent because people seem like they got a lot to say. I think that the West Coast is what really started to commercialize hip hop from a radio play standpoint. I think that when it came down to showing that hip could sell a bunch of records, that really starts with MC Hammer, who again is West Coast. But if we're not counting Hammer, that starts with NWA. That starts with Dr. Dre and Snoop. It does.
I mean, that's facts.
I mean, Biggie even says it on his album. Yeah.
Until
Biggie, what Biggie say? Trying to sell records like Snoop? He said that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not me talking. That's Big talking. That's y'all legend talking. He's our legend too, but you know what I mean. Mad Max just says, and I got love for all hip hop artists from everywhere. Hip hop is global. That's cool, but hip hop is our ish. We bleed this in ways that no other region does. A lot of you didn't do much for hip hop 50, but was mad at New York hip hop 50. I do think there could have been some. I think people could have came together for that a little bit more, and I do think that New York did lead the charge on hip hop 50. But even when you talk about hip hop 50 in that way, other regions felt like the hip hop 50 celebrations were very New York centric anyway.
Yeah, because where's your Uncle Luke's? Where's your Ghetto Boys? Where's the Goodie Mobs? Where's the Cubes? Where's the Snoops? Where's, like, come on, man. Like, there's so many eras, so many people that made it possible for certain things to happen. Like I always say, give love to Uncle Luke for what he fought for. And he just had a street named after him, and Scarface, presented him with that and all that stuff. But, Uncle Luke, we have him. Then you have, like, MC Hammer, the West. Like, people say what they want about the West, but MC Hammer had, he did that. He did it. But it's like how you said, if it stayed in New York, it would be niche, and it wouldn't be to hip hop making it this far. If it was niche, it stayed in New York, it would have been like a fad. It would have been like, it comes in, it stayed, had a good moment, and we'll be talking about it like disco. In order for hip hop to get to the place where it's at now, it had to go through these other regions and have other people take it and carry the torch and be innovative and creative from their spaces.
Yeah, because it gave everybody different sounds. I think that's why we've gotten one sound over the past 10 years, because we don't really have regions anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, when the West Coast came and did what they did, they changed up the sound, which probably inspired, I know it inspired some East Coast artists to do some different things with what they were doing, which inspired the South. I mean, the West Coast directly inspired the South. I mean, you can hear the NWA influence on Memphis hip hop, and obviously Memphis influenced Atlanta. And obviously, when it comes to Miami bass, that influenced Atlanta as well. So Atlanta kind of developed some of its own stuff. The Raisin Head with the super chat says, trying to sell records like Snoop. Oops, right. Raisin Head also says, New York doesn't support Nas, which is sad. Well, see, that's the thing, too. I love New York, and you guys have so many legends. I wish New York supported New York in the way that it used to, and maybe these other regions wouldn't be overtaking things. Because whether you feel like the region is making quality music or not, one thing about Atlanta, the Bay, Houston, they're going to support their artists.
Yeah.
Whether this shit is trash or not. And I know this from working in Atlanta radio. Like, they're going to support their artists. New Orleans, too. Mad Max in the super chat says, have your own celebrations like we did. Like we did. You did.
But we do. And that's why hip hop has been outside of New York for the last 20 years. It's like that SpongeBob meme when SpongeBob and Patrick. I mean, when Squidward's looking out the window and you see Patrick and SpongeBob running outside. That's New York throughout the last 20 years, looking out those blinds and seeing all those other regions coming out to play. It's unfortunate, but that's been the case, bro. Why y'all?
Well, I mean,
depending on Kai Cenat to keep y'all up.
Look, man, 50 Cent kind of blurred a lot of lines in the region too, man. He was the biggest out of New York and showed New York that you didn't have to be from New York to be the biggest. What 50 went out there and did was he reached out to other regions and became the biggest in New York. And I think that was a culture shift in itself. Free with the super chat says, we do still have regions. If anything, hip hop has been extremely regional since 2019. They just struggle to go national. Okay, I can see that. So a lot of the regional stuff
Regional
just
sound doesn't make it to the national base. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But
It's
where
like
it
when
used to
Nelly
be,
came out.
regional sounds would like be the next wave. Like when the hyphy movement happened, right? Like
when Nelly
those
came out, what St. Louis was doing that, or when Twista came back out, you know, that first Chicago wave, if you will, before the drill stuff, like there was people took it, and you know,
And Matt Max with the super chat says, "What's region support? Old rappers stop putting Nas radio issues on in New York. We got Southerners running radio up here. So that's outside his message.
Though y'all was doing it to yourself. Like I said, like Hot 97 was getting artists on the same call who they knew to have beef with each other to get their ratings up. Do y'all not remember the infamous Hot 97 calls with you know them setting their own artists up for those ratings and stuff? Like y'all was doing it your own. And
with Cam and 50,
it's not Southern people, man. Y'all got Ebro's from the West Coast. That's y'all people that let Ebro get to that position. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like,
again, that was going to be my question. And listen, I don't want to sound like I'm knocking Ebro because I'm being real, and this not even being political. I respect Ebro. Ebro knows his stuff. He's great at his job. But I never understood how New York allowed, you know what I'm saying, somebody from the West Coast to come over and basically run New York radio and would debate New York artists about what they should be doing to get on New York radio. Like I remember him going back and forth with Buckshot about why or what he needs to do to get on Hot 97. And I'm like, when did this happen? Even arguing with 50 about who killed New York hip hop. My thing is like, and it's always been like that here. It's like, we respect our legends, especially the ones that come before the radio personalities. And Greg Street's originally from Dallas. But when he came over here, he wasn't pushing Dallas or any other region on Atlanta. He was going hard for Atlanta. And when you get...
I'm sorry, I'm going to let you rock. What'd you say?
No, I was just saying, like, and it's crazy when you come to New York, the birthplace of hip hop, and you get such an important position like this, and you putting on for other regions. It's wild. And the fact that New York let him do it is even wilder to me. I don't understand.
Think about it as well. Guess who else is from the West Coast that had been operating in that space in New York for a very long time and is well respected?
Who?
Sway.
Oh, Sway. Yeah. But no, Sway, I thought he still operated out on the West Coast.
Sway's from Oakland.
Yeah, but I thought Sway show is still out west.
I think he does his stuff with Sirius. Sirius, from my knowledge, is New York. Okay.
That's different though, because that's more satellite than local.
Even before that, he was operating in New York spaces. He was MTV. He was in New York.
Well, I will say this: Charlemagne's from South Carolina. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough. He jumped around.
Charlemagne's a very powerful individual in New York radio. He is.
Yeah, you know,
he has been for a minute.
Yeah, what New York, man? Like, who's y'all voice of? You know, much shout out to Angie Martinez because she's one of my all-time favorite radio personalities, and what she does in the media space. She's my number one. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love what Angie does. I love how she interviews. She's interviewed legends, and she knows how to get the news out of people without, like, you know, it's like natural conversation that she have. And so I like what Angie does. I like what Sway does. but who's leading the charge for the voice out of New York, man? And I don't want to make this a New York shit session, but it's kind of like, man, what like who's been the leader for y'all, man? Who's been controlling the
But we got
narrative?
to get to the root of the problem, man. And I feel bad that the artists have continuously did what they were supposed to do, but the New York outlets didn't do what they were supposed to do to, say, make sure that those legends are taken care of. I mean, Christopher Hogan, and I give Flex credit. Flex tries to a certain degree, but I remember when Star got on Flex's show, and I guess that they don't, New Yorkers, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mad Max, y'all don't really consider the Griselda guys New Yorkers because they're from Buffalo. But Star was like, yo, why ain't y'all playing Griselda? Like, y'all playing y'all playing Glorilla and y'all not playing these Griselda guys? And hey, and there was no real answer for it. It was like, we'll get them up here to freestyle. I was like, nah, play their record. Christopher Hogan with the super chat says, that's a lazy take, Mad Max. Hip hop is loved in all regions. New York just thinks the way we honor hip hop isn't to their standards.
I mean, there's a truth to that. I mean, like one thing I can never take away from New Yorkers is their pride, man. If there's anybody that I'll put on the top, like number one as the most prideful people, you gotta give that to New York. But show that appreciation for your if y'all show that appreciation to it when y'all going against everybody else, but what y'all do with yourselves to prop up your own, man, what are y'all doing, bro? Like, New York
they fight amongst each other from borough to borough,
Yeah, man, there's so much rich history in hip hop with NY, but to see that NY has kind of been out of the dominant space of hip hop for 20 plus years, it's kind of like, what's up, man? Because we loved y'all too. Because like, before we took to these other regions, we were listening to New York hip hop. We can't act like we weren't. All of us was. So it's not like it's kind of like us kicking y'all in the ass and be like, hey man, what y'all doing? What's up? Y'all stop
even when you talk about
thing and the shit that y'all, the TikTok dance or whatever. Stop doing that shit. Go do some stuff. Like,
even when we talk about the Miami bass stuff, man, that comes from Planet Rock. You know what I mean? Africa Bambaataa and the Zulu. I mean, it does. Mad Max with the super chat says, nobody's saying that other regions don't love hip hop. If you put a Hall of Fame anywhere, it's New York. All right.
Like I said, I'm not mad at his take on that.
Well, we can leave it there. But Diddy's trial started today. Speaking of New York.
Yeah.
New York. What a transition. There's a lot of people who have their opinions about where this trial is going to go, as far as like what the verdict's going to be. I'm hearing the predictions that it's going to be about a 2-month trial. I know this. I don't know if people out there know, but you have a background in legal studies, right?
Criminal justice.
Criminal justice. Based on what you see so far, because I'm going to give my takes, but you can give more of a professional take. Based on what you see so far, how do you see some things early on materializing in this trial?
I don't know. Number one thing I would say, this will be this will be number 3 biggest trial in our culture, unfortunately. Number OJ. 1, I'm going to give that to OJ. Number 2, Michael Jackson. 3 is going to be Diddy.
I think this is going to be bigger than the Michael Jackson trial. I know that sounds crazy, especially coming from me.
You gotta throw R. Kelly in there too. R. Kelly was there, but I don't think he was fucking with Mike and OJ though. But this Diddy thing, just the coverage of this whole Diddy stuff, even before we even got to a trial date, has been crazy. It's like every day you're getting Diddy news, Diddy this, Diddy that, and then so much commentary from people in hip hop and then radio, and it's like you get it was hard, I was doing the news segments, it was hard to like do the news when there's so many things popping up about Diddy every day. I could do a video and post the news about what's going on, but you're getting a new Diddy. I mean, you wasn't even getting it as frequent with the ASAP trial or the YSL trial. Like, this Diddy stuff is taking over, and they're just like choosing a jury today, and there's already people waiting in lines and tents to outside of there. There's people in media that's fighting to want to be in the courtroom. Like, this shit is big, dog. Like, I don't know. I mean, we had big hip hop trials, but this is bigger than hip hop with Diddy. You know
Oh
what I'm
no,
saying?
this is Diddy, man. Like I don't think people. Well,
Cross
I
over
know
certain avenues, man. Yeah.
people understand how huge Diddy is. Diddy has been the mogul in hip hop for at least about the greater 30 years, right? Like it's 95. Yeah. Since about 95, 96, we've known Diddy as that mogul. He's the face of Bad Boy Entertainment. He's the face of what we call hip hop moguls just in the culture. You know, like when they do like those reenactments on CSI where they're like reenact a rap label or a rapper or some shit like that. You always have a Diddy character and a Suge Knight character. You know what I'm saying? Like this guy has transcended generations. He means different things to different generations. Musically, I give him credit for being the person commercially that merged hip hop and R&B successfully. But again, people know him from so many different things. Some people know him as trying to rap, making some rap songs. People know him for dancing in the videos. Some people know him for Shiny Suit. Some people know him for Ciroc. Some people know him for Revolt. Whatever. This guy is a larger than life personality. I will say this. I'm going to make a bold prediction before any of the facts or anything comes out court-wise. Based on these documentaries that I've seen so far, and there's a lot of them. They got them on Tubi. They got them on fucking Hulu. They got them on Netflix, whatever. Everybody has a Diddy documentary right now. It doesn't look like a lot of things that are incriminating from a long-term jail perspective that you could prove beyond a reasonable doubt. And when I saw Brian Steele, Young Thug's attorney, join Diddy's defense team, kind of made me think that
Oh yeah.
he's going to win this. And I don't feel like Brian Steele, who was just in this impossible Young Thug trial, and he got Young Thug off with probation pretty much, and all the things that he was facing up against Fonnie Willis and, you know, two different judges and basically, you know, the longest trial in the state of Georgia's history. I don't think that Brian Steele, after all of that, would go into a losing situation. And so seeing that he was on Diddy's team, and based on some of the things that I'm seeing, you know, as far as it don't really seem concrete, I don't think he's gonna do any time. I could be wrong, and it could be some things that come out that I'm just not aware of in this moment. But before we have the first day of trial, and based on the defense attorney, well, Brian still being added to the team, I don't think he's going to be found guilty.
Yeah, based on, you know, when you asked and I was like, I don't know, is because I'm with you. Like, I feel like they don't have anything that's too damning or incriminating either. And I feel like there's a reason that he took that plea. Why he disagreed to take the plea deal, because he's like, all right, y'all say y'all got something, we'll see in trial, you know. And it's the feds, they hold a lot of stuff to them, but I've been seeing like the only thing has been kind of dictated around Cassie. And if that's your only way at this stuff, being that everything you claim and it's one person Rico, I don't know what you guys have that's really, you know, you guys trying to stack the odds. You put Comey's daughter on it. You got an all white women led prosecution. It's going to be very hard to get a juror that's probably never heard of Diddy. So this is going to be interesting as well. Are you going to find somebody who don't know who Diddy or Puff Daddy is in this time frame, old or young? You know what I'm saying? Like in a jury of peers, they say. So that's going to be interesting. But you know, like I'm with you. I don't see anything that has been presented that is looking at warning him a life sentence if he's convicted, or even that will gain a conviction based on what they have. I just, you know, because a lot of the allegations are being dropped left and right there, and that's kind of going under the rug. It's not being highlighted as much as when the stories initially came out. They're not talking about how many of those civil cases are being dropped behind the scenes because they were led by old boy who's out here just trying to pick off and poach black artists and stuff or whatever. So it you know, the feds has kind of been like to me, overzealous. It seems like they've been trying to go for these big fish and not having enough evidence to convict any of them. That's what it seemed like. They're going off what the internet is saying and they're relying off, podcasts to lock people up,
A
and
lot of these documentaries too, and to your point about not being able to find unbiased jury with all of these with this round the clock coverage and all of these documentaries out there, it's going to be very difficult not only to find somebody who doesn't know who Diddy is, but who hasn't been influenced in some sort of way by the coverage. And I think that to some degree, those things could possibly be grounds for this to be dropped. I don't know. And again, just based on what I'm seeing, I don't know if it's as cut and dry as people you feel like it is because of, like you said, the public perception. Because for the people who were there in the moment, they were saying the same thing about Michael Jackson trial. Like, I mean, if you listen to the media, he was going down. And I remember when, I was in New York for the first time in 2005 when they were reading out the jury's deliberation. And I was shocked that, how many not guilties based on how the coverage was leading up to that. I was like, there must have been some things going on in court that we weren't aware of that were being publicized. And so, I don't know. I think that, like I said, when Brian Steele made himself a part of the defense team after going through this rigorous Young Thug trial, it made me feel like, okay, I don't think that someone like him would want a big L on his record if he could help it. And I don't think he would take this case if he didn't think he could win it.
Yeah, me too. I don't think he's like a clout chaser lawyer. I don't think he's just trying to get on the next big thing to boost his name. I think his name is kind of what that Young Thug trial did for him is enough. So I really think he joined this because he really does feel he has a good chance of winning this, or at least not getting what that the other side is hoping to get out of this. But like I said, man, I don't know what is this obsession with trying to go at black celebrities or black artists or black entertainers. I don't know what the hard on is for trying to convict them when there's so many people that are doing fucked up things that could be sought after right now. So, if you guys want to go off the cloud of looking at these podcasts and these interviews and what these little documentaries that whatever little nerds is putting up on YouTube, hey, travel down that hole if you want to. But there's real shit happening out here. Rather than you guys trying to go after these guys. Now, if they were doing something, you guys find that and y'all have the evidence to support it, by any means, do y'all do. But right now, it would just seem like you guys is really just reaching in the thin air and hoping y'all grab something. And it's looking real bad on their credibility. Is really looking bad.
And I know a lot of people always bring in the R. Kelly thing, and I don't want to sound like I'm caping for Diddy or anything like that. I'm just looking at things like trying to look at it from an unbiased, objective lens. The difference between the two, it seems like, well, obviously age is one thing, but the other difference is the fact that no one's being forced to do anything. You have a choice, right? And when you have a choice, you have a choice. And that person didn't force you to do anything. You could say that there were opportunities possibly over there or promises made, but that's not a force. You still have a decision to make as an adult. Now, if you're in a situation where a person wouldn't let you leave or wouldn't let you escape, wouldn't let you see your family, and your family's out here trying to find you, you're not showing up to your grandfather's funerals and stuff like that. Now, that's different. But it seems like from everything that we see, from all accounts from the Diddy stuff, it's like people were able to come and go at their own account and at their own accord. I mean, Cat Williams, famously said, Diddy wants to party, but you got to tell him no. But you got the ability to tell him no, and at that point, you really don't have anything.
That R. Kelly shit, it was like, hey, after that, was like, oh, it's open season. And then they've been, that winning record has been kind of shaky for them. They're like, man, streets need a body. We need Jay. Or we need Diddy. All right, we can get Jay. Or let's get Diddy, man. We think we can get him. He's squeaky clean. We can get him. That's really
Going
what
to
it seemed.
going to Jay was such a reach, man.
It
That
was
was
stupid.
crazy.
Um,
It was such a
Diddy,
reach.
Diddy is one we could say we can't fully cape for you, bro, because you ain't squeaky clean. But I don't think you guilty of what these people are trying to say you guilty for. We can't ignore
Yeah,
what we're seeing in the Cassie shit, but Cassie shit is not what's on trial, and
yeah,
that's
and
what
I
I
think
think
it
we need to
comes to
separate. And I don't like that they're able to use that shit and stuff in this trial because he's not on trial for that. So we could judge by we can't ignore what we've seen on that video. We could have people have their right to feel whatever they want about Diddy after they seen that or period. But
of
that's
course,
not what he's on
this was
trial for.
disgusting. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That video was disgusting, and I think that they're going to utilize, Cassie as more of a character witness to, well, lack thereof, to portray the character of who Diddy is and, and what he's about and utilize her testimony in that way. But as far as like utilizing that from a criminal standpoint, it's like they don't really have anything, especially with
Yeah.
the fact that she took the settlement within 24 hours and didn't communicate with any law enforcement at all. So,
They saying
well,
she testify, so
yeah, we're gonna
yeah.
see, man. This is a developing story, and I think that once the verdicts and all those things come down, it's going to be some of the biggest news in hip hop history. To be, quite frank. All right, well, before we get out of here, Chuck D, the legend Chuck D, man, he just received the Verb Award.
Yeah, the
It's
inaugural review.
Yeah, the Reverb Award. Yes, I'm sorry, the Reverb Award. So that's from Soulville. That's let me read the article. Hip hop legend Chuck D receives the Soulville Foundation inaugural Power of Music Honor Reverb Award. Celebrates the transformative power of music to drive change. Memphis, Tennessee, May 5th. Because I grew up on my mom's Stax records, and to this day, I still in total and complete awe of the talent. The genius and the legacy came out of the soul of Memphis, the South, of course. I am humbled beyond words to receive this honor, and I share with everyone who came before me, stands along with me, and will follow us all in the future. Thank you, Soulville Foundation, said hip hop icon Chuck D, Public Enemy, upon receiving the Soulville Foundation first ever Power of Music Honor Reverb Award. See, these are the type of things that we talk about at Hip Hop Hall of Fame, and
Yeah.
Chuck D and Public Enemy are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. These are the things that need to get publicized more and need to be talked about more, because all of these individual honors, and this is the first annual, this means something. And Chuck D being the first one, that sets a tone. Did you? This isn't off topic, but did you see Sinners?
No, I haven't, bro. I haven't.
I hope
Gee.
I
Yeah, man.
You gotta see.
I haven't, bro. I don't like seeing stuff when the hype is there, man. I don't know why. It's like it kind of
It's a
makes me
good
lose
one.
when the hype is there. I went to go see the Marvel movie this past weekend. Shame on me. It's
Oh,
Black Widow, Ryan Coogler and everything, but I I'm sorry. I don't like
we'll,
seeing stuff when the hype is there.
we'll talk about that offline. I want to know about that Marvel movie if it's worth
Oh, that
seeing.
Marvel
But
movie. We can talk about it.
okay, cool. We'll talk about it. But yeah, man, Public Enemy is one of my favorite hip hop groups. It's between them and Tribe and Cass. Like it interchanges all the time. Like there's nothing like Public Enemy. The sound that they came with, we were just talking about NWA. I feel like Straight Outta Compton is a direct reaction from It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. What the
Oh
Bomb
yeah.
Squad did production wise on that album, Dre went out there and duplicated, and I think he's even been vocal about that. So it's no secret or anything. And what Chuck was doing, sliding on those records, is really influential to Cube. You know what I'm saying? And even when Cube went solo, he went to the Bomb Squad to record his first album. I think that Public Enemy has some of the strongest hip hop songs ever. My personal favorite hip hop song ever is Welcome to the Terror Dome. And I remember my guy was out on tour with Public Enemy about 10 years ago. And he said that was Chuck D's favorite song. I love when that happens, when my favorite song is the artist's favorite song. We're in line. But yeah, man, they got. I will say this, man. If Public Enemy had a versus against anybody, they would be very, 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 very tough to beat. They got 10 or 11 songs that are damn near untouchable, and what are you going to play when they play Fight the Power? And how powerful not only Chuck D's voice is, but the message too. We live in a genre, or we operate in a genre where, people talk about a lot of things. Public Enemy and Chuck D have been on code about Black empowerment from day one. And they don't veer off. Like, they're not making songs about no, clubs, party jams, none of that. Like, this is just straight up message. And not only were they able to do that, they were able to be entertaining with it. And I know people sometimes label conscious rap boring, but to me, I always say that Public Enemy defied all of those things before conscious rap became a thing, because the beats are important. And Public Enemy always knew how important the production was, because that shit is just like driving. That shit is just blaring. You can't ignore, Chuck D and his message and his voice and the production, and Flav over here doing what he's doing. It's impossible to. I think they made some of the greatest hip hop videos of all time too. When I think about it, and
I think they're one of the best hip hop logos of all time too.
Oh, they do that too.
I still want one of those Public Enemy jackets. I still want one of those.
I think they do have the best hip hop logo of all time. I mean, it's so layered, and you got the B-boy stance, you got, you know what I'm saying, in the crosshairs, like that shit is perfect. Mm-hmm. It says so much with saying so little. Like it's basic. Yeah, I can't think of a logo better. Now, obviously, one could say Wu-Tang's logo is iconic.
Naughty by Nature.
Naughty by Nature's is fire. I give you that. You know what? I know it's gonna sound like, Diddy, whatever. The Bad Boy logo was hard.
Yes, it was.
The Bad Boy logo was hard. ASAP Ferg's father drew that, I believe. I remember the Def Squad's logo was hard too. But yeah, man, what Public Enemy's logo means, it's just we need a Public Enemy, not just now. We need a Public Enemy in every era. But that group, the way it was constructed, from the DJing to the security team, to the MC, to the hype man, to the production with the Bomb Squad. I mean, it's just perfection, man. And you didn't even just have to be there, because that's slightly before my time, but they were revolutionary in so many ways. Like I said, I was thinking the other day, I'm like, they got some of the best music videos ever. 911 is a joke, is incredible. Fight the Power's music video is incredible. Can't Trust This is incredible.
Always impactful, man. It always seemed like it's coming at you, dog. Like, it was disrupt some shit, you know. Yeah. One of my favorite videos, because it just reminds me of the conversation we was having in our chat the other day. We were talking about like certain songs that are considered certain with classics or whatever, that, not really like that no more. How you think about it, like. But I don't know who it was, but somebody mentioned "We Are the World," and I was like, "That's funny as hell." But I agree. I actually think "Self-Destruction" is a bigger impactful video for our culture. And "We Are the World," it was exactly what it was for the world, but "Self-Destruction" for our culture was dope. And you see Public Enemy and "Self-Destruction," you seen the, like, it reminds me of those Public Enemy videos, essentially. You know what I'm saying? So I'm with you. I agree with you. Those Public Enemy videos was dope. The imagery, the logos, the Flav. Come on, man. Like, you're never gonna get a group.
The Night of the Living Bassheads video.
I remember all of them.
Yeah, Night of the Living Bassheads was incredible. It wasn't as big of a song as some of the other ones, but just the whole message where people. But that anti-crack message that hip hop used to have. Yeah, hip hop used to tell you to stay off the narcotic. You know what I mean? And then hip hop starts selling you narcotics, And then hip hop said it was cool to do the narcotic. And I remember that era where it was like, stay off the narcotic. They made it where it was like, you were dumb to do drugs. And yeah, man, I got to give it to Public Enemy. We were just talking about New York not having it. The West Coast taking it in the way that they did, I think was detrimental to the wave that Public Enemy was riding, because it was the opposite. It was, I mean, Dre said, no medallions, dreadlocks, or black fists. It's just that like gangster rap um, kind of knocked off a little bit of momentum of what Public Enemy had going on, and that's unfortunate. I wish both could have existed at that high level, but you know, it
But
is
that's
what
why
it
I
is.
say that East and West Coast, for the most part, like after NWA, is like they kind of always coexisted. I don't think one took one from the other. They always
Yeah,
coexist. Um, Even is this wild to say that Pac was probably in his own right bigger than Big? I know they
yeah.
like to go up against each other,
Pac
but
was
I
bigger than
feel like
Big.
when we look at the whole celebrity of it, I feel like Pac was bigger than Big, and that's
Pac
no
was
knock
bigger
to
than
Big.
Big.
Like,
That's not
yeah,
sacrilegious. That's just the truth. He was a movie star too. So yeah, Pac was
yeah.
bigger than Big. Yeah,
So that's
that
what
is what.
it's just like coexisted. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Definitely.
think that as I get older, I feel like Pac was actually better than Big too. I mean, growing up, I always, marveled at, Big's skills. And I would still say that from a skill standpoint, I think Big is the most lyrically skilled, not just lyrically skilled, most all around skilled MC we've ever seen. Like, he had the voice, he had the flow, he had the versatility, he had the lyricism, he had the storytelling and all of that. But what Pac brought to the table was just some level of intangibles that you can't duplicate. And many of the things that Big ended up being good at, Pac was doing before Big. I mean,
Facts.
that, and it's noted that you know Big was kind of listening to Pac for cues on how to approach certain records. So it is what it is, man. And when you listen to like All Eyes on Me, like this guy Pac was just great at everything. But see, what he could do that Big couldn't do is he can make a Dear Mama, he can make a I Ain't Mad at You, and then go make an Ambitious Rider. Like, he could do all of those things.
Yeah.
And so
And,
yeah, I think that being said, he was just a better overall MC.
and we talk NY rap, and there's some, it's the history there. There's heavy hitters out of NY, but I believe a lot of um that last big come out of New York, you also have to credit some of that help being from Philly. You know what I'm saying? I
Oh
feel
yeah,
like Philly is kind of those little brothers to NY that actually don't get enough credit for how they kind of um contribute to the East Coast way of music. I mean, even with Rockefeller, they
Rockefeller utilized Philly a lot.
yeah, they legitimize rock to a whole nother level in the streets. It wasn't like
Mhm.
Rockefeller was a bunch of New York artists. It wasn't. They were majority Philly artists to keep it a
Yeah.
stack.
Yeah, I
So
mean, Siegel brought the whole wave, and when Siegel came in and was who he was from Rockefeller, he brought the whole city, and they
yeah,
all could spit.
yeah.
Petey Grack from Philly too, right? Yeah,
Freeway.
Young Gun,
Yep.
Freeway, yeah, man, yeah. Shout out to them, man. They're on tour with Cash Money right now, and
Yep.
that should be a great show to see as well. Even though Wayne, I don't think many of the dates, or if any of the dates.
Moxie's on the tour as well. And they're coming to my city. So, and then they on the tour thing. You guys got to pay attention to the legend on there because they have a symbol for it's like an asterisk, and there's something I think a plus mark, and it's to show who's going to be on what shows. And fortunately
Yeah.
for my city, we get lots and we get the Rock on it with Cash Money. So, and that's May 31st, which is like, if I don't make it to go see Kendrick in Vegas, I'm gonna be here in Jacksonville going to the Cash Money show to go
Yeah.
see the lot and Beans and all them. That'll be dope.
You got to come through and do a concert review, because I know you're a big concert goer, and we should start up those concert reviews so people can know what they expect, and what I'm saying, and understand how dope these shows are, because the artists need the support. You know what I'm saying? Like they want you to come out to these shows. So,
Yeah.
all right, man, we want to go check out some NBA playoff basketball, man. Great show.
Yes, sir.
If there's anything we left off, man, y'all hit like and subscribe and all of that stuff in the chat. Let us know what we missed. Let us know some new music out there that you rocking with the channel hadn't talked about yet, so we can actually get all of that on.
Yeah. I was about to say, is there any new music? I was just making sure of my damn self. Like, is there any music we didn't catch? Oh, I know Bodie James dropped something.
I haven't heard it yet.
I haven't heard it yet either. Bodie James dropped something. Of course, we already talked about Westside Gunn and Doechii. There's gonna be new music coming. I have optimism for what the new stuff of hip hop is. If you guys are Marvel fans, we thought the peak in Marvel was gonna be done after the big climax of the Avengers and Thanos snapping.
What?
You gotta remember, there's still story that's being told there, and you gotta cook up and you gotta build these new characters that's coming into the space. This is hip hop.
You got me excited about this new Marvel movie, man. I'm gonna check it out.
I don't want to hype that. It's good. It's good, but I'm just drawing the comparisons. Like with hip hop, this is after the big climax with Thanos and all that stuff, and we're in that stalemate where a new story is being told. Give hip hop some time to cook, man. We 50 years old, man. We're gonna get the cream of the crop will always stay there, and the cream of the crop in hip hop is always lyricism and creativity. And lyricism is not always a bunch of word salad. It's how you deliver. It's the style. People think lyricism is just a bunch of saying nothing. A bunch of like.
I think we need to have a whole. We need to have a whole episode on lyricism and its many definitions.
Yeah, because like it's like battle rap. You got a bunch of gun references and all that stuff, but it's no content. It's no content. You know, like I'm saying, and that's what they consider lyrical. It's not a bunch of word salad, bro. Let hip hop cook. We'll be in a good spot soon.
Mad Max has a super chat before we get out of here. He says, Mad Max, LOL. Everyone talk about NY bias are artists, not fans or media, have always showed love to other regions. Jay, Nas, Big, Cam, 50, Ray, Ghost, Meth, ASAP Rocky, French, Nicki, Pop Smoke, etc. I love New York, man. All of these things are jokes, man. I'm being somewhat objective. But yeah, man, there is some level of New York bias out there, but you know, New York got the greatest MCs and everything.
Yeah, they show love, but some of those people, you also have to know that they didn't come show love to us because they willingly want to. New York was not trying to sign some of them niggas, and they had to come to the South to get
the game was changing.
I.e. Nicki Minaj and stuff like that. But it's not like I said, man. Me shitting on New York is me shitting on the whole hip hop because it is birthed there. But just like y'all have to clown some other people, we got to clown y'all too. We the Southern cousins, man. Y'all gotta, like I said, y'all gotta stop playing hopscotch and whatever dance is getting sturdy over there and get back to what we value in New York.
Get back to the bar.
Get back. Y'all over there getting sturdy to everything.
Hit like and subscribe, everybody. Appreciate y'all.
All right.
Hello. Yes, sir.